Honestly, the Expert Women programme has kind of changed my life. I know that sounds like a big thing, but I mean, personally, it's given me a huge amount of confidence to just go and do things in my professional life. But more specifically for TV and radio, I have made a couple of appearances more than a few appearances over the years, news, radio, websites as well. And there's no way I would have even thought to say yes to any of them. Or it being on my radar. I mean, I'm doing a PhD and this is nothing to do with my everyday life, so there's no way that I would have even considered being an expert on anything. And there has not been one occasion since the training where I've been called and I haven't said yes. So it's really given me the confidence and the tools to be able to answer questions live and pre-recorded.
Do you think of yourself as an expert?
When I started, no, not at all. I kind of do now. It feels a bit weird saying that, but yeah, I kind of do. I think especially the alumni events have really made me feel like I am an expert and I do have a position where as an expert. And it's really upped my confidence, because I remember the first day I came for the first session ever and I was just like, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm way underqualified. And actually talking to the other women, everyone feels exactly the same, and having that community, and it's not just these events throughout the year. We meet up and we talk and we interact on social media, and there's a real community there, and we all back each other up and encourage each other to do things. So it's really important.
It's really given me a lot of ideas and actually been really inspirational just to see the group of women that have come and all the kind of range of expertise and what they've done. And actually it's made me sort of appreciate the kind of possibilities, if you like.
A lot of people say we should do this for men. Why are we doing it for women? Is your perception that women need this?
Well, we know there's definitely a mismatch, isn't there, in terms of the proportion of women that feature on television and radio. And I know it's different for everyone, isn't it? So not every woman feels like they have a lack of confidence, but there are certainly some themes there that I think are consistent, and that certainly kind of resonates with me. And I think exploring that in a space where other people know where you're coming from and can say, well, look, I felt like that too, I was scared too, and I did it and it was fine. I think really encourages women to give it a go and think, why shouldn't I be telling my story?
Certainly given me an insight into how the industry works, and I think I was probably a bit naive in terms of my thinking about the way that programmes are put together, what the priorities would be. And I guess that, and you can't know what you don't know. So the only way that you can know that is by being immersed in it and talking to people who are in the industry. And it's also sort of made me realise that it is important. And as academics, we are increasingly aware of the fact that we have to think of cleverer ways, for want of a better word, of disseminating our research findings. And it's no longer acceptable to say to funders, we will publish in peer-reviewed journals and present at relevant scientific meetings. That's not going to be enough. And so that was also partly part of my motivation for trying to understand the media industry better, so that I could use it to my own advantage, because I do worry about the wrong message coming out for the agenda, for the headline with the exclamation mark at the end of it, to take priority over the science.
So would you say that taking part in something like this has actually helped you with your fundraising or your grant application?
I don't have evidence to support that yet, but I can see I'm putting together a grant application at the moment, and I will certainly be mentioning this in it. So I can't, it's only been 6 months because I was the most recent cohort in November. But yes, I do think, and it's also given me the confidence. I want to make a documentary film about some of the work that I do in rural India, and I wouldn't have even thought about doing that had I not done the BBC Women. And I've reached out to Fran, for example, to contact to producers, and I've actually spoken to producers, but I've just contacted people and spoken to them independently, which I never would have thought of doing had I not done this.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I did it in Glasgow last year, and since then a number of opportunities have come along to be on radio shows and television, and I think it's helped me in a number of respects. For a start, I don't think I would have been comfortable doing that without the training in the first place. It's also helped me understand more about what is what's required. And particularly today, I think it's really helped me understand it better from the other side of the fence as to, you know, what a journalist is looking for when they're talking to you. So I think that will definitely make my contributions better in the future.
Have you noticed more women on radio and television?
Yes, I think it's something I'm much more conscious of. I probably wasn't as aware of the statistics until they were presented to me, but then when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, that's right. But I think now I do notice that you see the effect, I suppose, of programmes like this, that there's obviously more of an awareness and a drive and a commitment to raising the profile of women more, which is great.
I find this time round, this is now my second training day, and I've done one interview in between, and I already feel much more comfortable with the whole process, and I'm very aware, and I think we all are in academia, that it's important to be able to communicate our messages to the wider public, and the training to do that in an effective way, that people are going to get the right take-home messages to take home. You know, this program has offered me the opportunity, really.
So how many appearances have you made as a result of this program?
There are actually a lot. I can't count them. It's been quite good. I've been on the papers at least maybe 4 times, reading the papers, just talking about current affairs and British politics, which was not originally
And what programme was that on?
The papers, BBC, the papers at night.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant because it was completely removed from my area of expertise, so I was not called on to talk about radicalisation or terrorism or whatever, which I usually am. And that was also a good experience in broadening my media exposure and talking about British politics and political parties and Brexit and all that. So it was brilliant. But I have been asked to comment on incidents like the Manchester bombing, Shamima Begum returning or not in the end, topics of radicalisation in general, all the trials that have happened since then, any terrorism incident that comes up, any court procedures that come up in terms of terrorism and radicalisation. So I've been asked on many television interviews as well as plenty of radio interviews. I mean, they have been a lot. There's so many, and I'm happy that that's been the case. This has helped tremendously, not only in getting a foot in the door, but in giving you the skills and empowering you with the confidence and the skills you need to get there and give your message.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's a direct result of the
I do.
program?
No, I absolutely do. I don't think without this program I personally would not have been able to get through that door. It would have been extremely difficult for me to introduce myself just out of the random blue and say that I am this expert.
So I think this course, the training with the expert women, has really helped me with my confidence and helped me see myself as an expert. I belong to an organisation which I don't feel is normally represented in the media by women of my age. That generally speaking, we tend to go to the top of the organisation if we want someone to speak. So a moderator or a principal clerk or someone, and the people with that level of experience tend to be men and or tend to be close to retirement or having retired. And it seems to me that there's been something in doing this training which has really helped me find my own voice, and I'm really hoping to be able to use it going forwards to speak in a way that young adults with whom I work would find appealing and would be able to understand.
Well, it's completely changed the way that I think about the media, for one thing. It's allowed me to appear on the media twice, which is fantastic, and I'm hoping for a lot more, actually. So it's given me confidence and skills and hope. It's also made me really, really aware about the television and watching it. Interestingly, I was talking to my brother the other night. He's a die-hard, right? A die-hard. I said, Peter, do you know that there aren't that many women experts on the television? He said, there are. There are loads of them. I'll tell you, there's loads of them. I said, well, tell me. Go on, tell me. So we had this really long, extracted conversation, protracted, I should say, conversation about women and television. And really, given the stats, of course, we know that there aren't that many women, but it's the common perception that there are. And so I was glad to be able to bust that myth for him, but I was really glad to be able to show me on the television and on the radio as well. So it's been great.